This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
As they come for the head of the stretch. Sensitive Prince, the leader, but Affirmed is gaining in second. Affirmed moves to the outside. In the stretch, Sensitive Prince holds it by 3. Affirmed is driving now under a right-handed whip. Coffin to the whip again and again, but Sensitive Prince is hanging on gamely. They're coming onto the wire. Sensitive Prince still holding on to 2. Affirmed is coming like a shot now. Can he catch him? We'll find out.
Everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Cassano. On this morning's show, we'll begin with a brief three-year-old segment, which will include yesterday's Curlin Stakes. We'll take a look at a quartet of Saratoga Stakes to the internal breaks, and we will welcome in 4 very special guests, beginning in just a couple of moments with Mr. Dallas Stewart, who will send out Commanding Curve in the Jim Dandy. He will be followed by Mr. Jim Bond, who may try to set the pace in the Jim Dandy with Legend. Mike Hushin, who turns back Captain Sirius for this afternoon's Amsterdam. And finally, Mr. Kieran McLaughlin, who tomorrow will send out Antipathy for the Shuvee. So all of that and much, much more if you stay with us for this, our July 26th edition of the program, which is being sponsored by Parting Glass Racing, Saratoga's original racing partnership. They are enjoying a very fine 2014. Visit them on the web at partingglassracing.com. Good morning on an absolutely gorgeous summer Saturday here at Saratoga. I hope you enjoyed this morning's open, a look at the stretch run of the 1978 Jim Dandy, where Affirmed, carrying 128 pounds and spotting Sensitive Prince 9 pounds, ran him down late. I'll never forget it. Affirm's trainer, the late, great Laz Barrera, said he felt that was one of Affirm's greatest performances during his brilliant career. And Alan Jerkins almost did it again with Sensitive Prince. All right, a brief three-year-old segment to begin this morning, and some very sad news. Dance with Fate, the winner of the Bluegrass Stakes, has been euthanized following a training accident on Thursday at Del Mar. Apparently, Dance with Fate's bridle came off. He struck the outside rail, causing a severe stifle injury. Trainer Peter Urton consulted with veterinarians. The decision was made to euthanize him. Very sad. His exercise rider, Joe Duran, is scheduled for back surgery later today. And Samrat, who would have started in today's Jim Dandy as a prep for the Travers, suffered a stress fracture to his right shin and is done for the remainder of the year. Trainer Rick Violet said the injury is not career-threatening and that Samrat will return for a 4-year-old campaign next year. Friday's feature was the Curlin Stakes for 3-year-olds, restricted to those who had not won a graded stakes race over a mile this year. Number 3, Protonico, was the 3-1 favorite. 3.5-1 second choice, number 10, Life in Shambles, who acted up in the gate and who had to overcome a difficult post. For the call of the Curlin Stakes, here's Tom Durkin.
And ready for the start of the Curlin Stakes. And they're off. Joint custody breaking in stride with Life in Shambles. But over at the rail, it's Protonico. And coming on through between horses, Tiznaz, up for a short lead. So it's Tiznaz, joint custody, and Protonico across the track early on. Life in Shambles hung out there wide round the first turn. Just in behind that group, it's Charge Now, who races in 5th early on. Cousin Stephen is sent up. 6th on the outside, about 4.5 lengths for the lead, turning into the backstretch. Then a break of 5 back to Spot and Viva Mallorca. And the last of all is VE Day. So they turn to the backstretch after an opening quarter mile and 24 flat. It's a narrow lead for Tiznaz, pushed along on the outside by joint custody. And then it's 2 lengths back. Down toward the inside, Protonico runs along in 4th. In between horses, Life in Shambles is now 5th, still out there on the outside. Cousin Stephen, 47 and 4 was the opening half mile. Just in behind that group, Charge Now, still about 6 lengths from the lead. And then it's Viva Mallorca alongside. That one is Spot still trailing the field. V.E. Day around the far turn. Joint custody wrestles a narrow lead away from Tiznaz, who's trying to battle back. Life in Shambles is sent after the lead now. Third on the outside, Protonico right there and in between horses. Just 2.5 lengths from the front with a quarter mile to go. Charge now swings into action on the outside. Viva Mallorca looking for a way through. Spot down toward the rail. V.E. Day is produced on the far outside to clear running into the final furlong. Protonico charge now. V.E. Day. Protonico charge now between horses. V.E. Day the outside. Farthest out, Viva Mallorca getting on track, Nate. It's going to be a three-way photo finish in the Curlin. It was V.E. Day. Protonico in between them was charged now. Viva Mallorca was fourth.
V.E. Day, number 7, Jimmy Jerkins, career victory number 2000 for Jose Lascano, comes from last to nail number 5, Charge Now, and number 3, Protonico, by a head to win the Curlin. Viva Mallorca, number 2, was a late running 4th. Mainly a turf horse in his first 4 races, with a victory in an off-the-turfer in the Slop back in May, his only previous start on the main track. So in yesterday's Curlin, V.E. Day was running over a dry main track for the very first time, and obviously handled it quite well. Charge Now and Protonico, who raced just in behind a relatively quick early pace, ran on well to finish 2nd and 3rd. You see how tight that finish was, and I've got a pretty good feeling that we're going to get 1 or 2 out of yesterday's Curlin to come back in the August 23rd Travers. And we are up to our first break on this July 26th edition of the program. Thank you so much for having joined us. When we return, Mr. Dallas Stewart, as we go to the break, last Saturday's Sanford for 2-year-olds, 8-5 favorite, number 8, Nona's Boy. So we'll take a look at the Sanford to the break. Back with Dallas Stewart right after these messages.
And they're off. Cinco Charlie, Bessie's Boy, and Chocolate Wildcat is gunned from the inside. Chocolate Wildcat looking for that lead, and now pokes ahead in front. On the far outside, Cinco Charlie, and mixing up in between those two, Bessie's Boy, and it's a torrid battle early on here. 6 lengths back to Nona's Boy, who runs along in 4th. Silver Hill 5th toward the inside. Then Mr. Z, followed by Big Trouble, 6 lengths back to Long Shot, Less Than Perfect. A bruising quarter mile of 21 3/5 seconds, a frenetic battle up front, the field rounding the far turn. Cinco Charlie, Bessie's Boy, there goes Nona's Boy. Nona's Boy on the move, and Big Trouble too. Moving toward the top of the stretch now. Bessie's Boy coming up empty as they come to the quarter post. Cinco Charlie and Nona's Boy, and they're head-to-head for the lead. Mr. Z is just in behind them, Big Trouble on the outside. And a resilient Cinco Charlie down inside, and he's a brave racehorse here. Nona's Boy, here comes Mr. Z after them. Big Trouble on the outside, 4 of them headlong into the final 100 yards. Here is Mr. Z, who emerges with the lead in the shadow of the wire. A surge from Big Trouble, too close to call. Did Big Trouble get up in that last stride to nose out Mr. Z? It's very close indeed. Close for 3rd as well. Cinco Charlie and Nona's Boy.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Sovereign Stable.
Partnerships.
Ownership.
Winning.
Sovereign Stable.
The anticipation.
The excitement.
The thrill.
Top-level racing.
Sovereign Stable.
Join us in the morning on the backstretch of Saratoga Racecourse to experience the magic of thoroughbred ownership. Call 866-329-2WIN to meet trainers, jockeys, and watch sovereign horses on the track.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cassano, and Big Trouble overcame trouble in the lane to run down Mr. Z and upset the Sanford for Tony Dutrow and Erod Ortiz Jr. Our first guest this morning will be saddling Kentucky Derby runner-up Commanding Curve in this afternoon's Jim Dandy. We welcome back to Down the Stretch Mr. Dallas Stewart. Dallas, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me,
Good
Mark.
seeing you, as
Yes,
always.
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you had entered Commanding Curve in yesterday's Curling. It was a softer field, and it was also a race that looked like it had more early pace in it, something that your colt needs. Why just scratch from the Curling to run this afternoon?
Well, we think a lot of the horse. We weren't afraid to run him in the Derby. So we don't want to be, ducking anyone at this point. The Curling we entered as like a safety net, because it was the race before the Jim Dandy. But I wanted some time to make the right decision, and given the little bit of time that we had, we came to the decision that the Jim Dandy would be the right spot for us. It's a prestigious race. Our horse is doing great. He's had a lot of works over this track. He trained up here as a 2-year-old, trained very well. That's when I first really started to like him. And so, he's conditioned here. He's going to get 6 pounds. I think he's on par to have a good race for today.
Are you concerned at all about, at least on paper, the apparent lack of early pace?
Well, the race is what it is. Sometimes you're in a race and you don't think there's no pace,
Yeah,
and you look
yeah.
up and somebody goes in 46.
Yeah.
So, we're not going to change our style at all. If the race is a little bit short for us and we come running, that's okay. We know the next one's 1.25 miles. So, we're very happy with him. Sean Bridgmohan's on him, great rider. He worked him a week ago, loved him, gave me the confidence, hey, we're on target. Let's go to the Jim Dandy. So that's what we came to.
Well, I would like to take you and the audience back. I don't think you're going to mind. We're going to go back to the Kentucky Derby, and as we pick it up down the backside, Commanding Curve number 17, last at the top of the screen. He is going to run really big in here, and for the second year in a row, you saddle a long shot to run second in America's greatest race. Talk about this effort.
Well, he was back off the pace here. He's a horse that doesn't have much early speed. And Sean gave him a great ride, kind of kept him outside. He didn't get him stopped. We felt good about him going into the race. Luckily, we were lucky to get in. And, he just ran tremendous here. He's just going to kind of pass horses on the outside. And, California Chrome outran us.
But you ran big. And Dallas, when we spoke early in the year, it was toward the tail end of the brutal winter we had, you said to us that you felt that this was the type of colt who, come the summer stakes, would really blossom. Do you still feel that way about him?
Yeah, I remember telling you that. I do. He's a colt that he's a big horse. He's kind of a real relaxed horse. I just think he's going to get better with some racing and development over the summer. Hopefully, this will be one of the springboards to a good finish off of the year.
Now, the Derby was terrific. The Belmont Stakes not so good.
I don't know what happened. I really don't know. He came back good. We took him in there. We thought we were doing the right thing. We gave him some good gallops over the track. We gave him a good hard work in the race. Bridgmohan said he was just kind of pushing him the whole way. He just never got on track. And it's just one of those things in racing you can't figure out. He came back. He scoped good. His soundness, we gave him a good health exam. Very healthy, and we pushed on. 2 weeks later, we gave him a hard work. He worked good, so who knows,
Belmont can be, quirky for some horses, and then again, the Belmont Stakes, not often conducive to the deep closing style of running for Commanding Curve.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it is there. I went back and watched the Risen Star, and he was laying second all the way around there and just ran a great race. But You know, maybe his style doesn't fit there. I was hoping that it would. You know, it was a Belmont. We gave it a shot. The horse came out of it healthy, so here we are today.
Does he have to show you something specific today in order for you to go on to the Travers?
Yeah, you want to run a good race. You know, if we have to back up, hopefully we won't. But if we're competitive today, we'll be there.
Last weekend, you ran Unbridled Forever. She ran second in the coaching club behind Stop Charging Maria. Your thoughts on her performance?
I thought it was a great performance. Another race, we just got outran. We were second. She came out of it good. I think she kind of needed the race, actually. She ran into Acorn. It was a little short for her. But this was a true, honest, hard race for her. We've been praising her. She's been rearing up, jumping, bucking, feeling good, eating well. I think she's right on for the Alabama. I really do.
You know, earlier in the year, again, when we spoke to you about her, you felt that she could be one of the best fillies you've ever had.
She's close to it. I mean, she's, you know, one of the second or third best fillies in America right now. So if she gets a little bit better, she could. She's very sound. You know, both of these horses are just very sound. The owners just gave us an enormous amount of time. Take your time with them, develop them. And, you know, that's our job. And their potential is who they are. So you just want to keep them healthy and let them be who they are.
Tell the audience for a moment, how critical is that to you, and how critical is it to the horse that you've got owners who allow you to take your time with them and do what you feel is best?
Well, absolutely. You can't be pushed. You can't be pushed into a race. You know, you got to feel like, you know, you have the horse prepared and conditioned, healthy, positive, everything good to be able to run at any level. So you can't get a push from people to run 2 to 3 weeks or a month before you're ready. And I've got great people that I train for, and I mean, I'm lucky the people that I work for. Very happy.
That's terrific. Well, Dallas, as always, we appreciate your time so much. Thanks so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. And we want to say thank you by giving you a $100 gift card and sending you to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill at 38 High Rock Avenue here in downtown Saratoga. They are open daily for lunch and dinner beginning at 11:30. So please take this with our regards and enjoy yourself at Jacob and Anthony.
Thank you, Mark. We look for a great day of racing.
And good luck this afternoon with Commanding Curve.
Yes, sir.
Dallas Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, and we are up to our next break. When we return, Mr. Jim Bond will join us as we go to the break. Last Saturday, the Diana, a race which on paper appeared to have a great deal of early speed. And of course, I liked Abaco, who was going to come from well out of it at 11-1. Number 8, Altarite, away since a third in last year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, was the 2.5-1 favorite. I want you to watch number 9, Stephanie's Kitten. As we take a look at the Diana to the break, back with Jim Bond right after these messages.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Somali Lemonade headed directly after that early lead. Discreet Mark is reined in from the outside. Tannery, who will be forwardly placed as they move by us the first time. Tannery's really on the muscle today. Discreet Mark has gone on to take a short lead. Tannery, a very headstrong, on the muscle, difficult to handle, right alongside. Alterite is also hard to handle. She's got it to the outside, tossing her head about. Just in behind him, Somali Lemonade runs fourth into the turn. Stratniver is fifth. Stephanie's Kitten sixth and 3 wide. Toward the inside, Solid Appeal is seventh in the early going here. Emollient also extremely difficult to handle. She just cannot settle. Caroline Thomas is right alongside her. Abaco is allowed to trail the field. So they straighten up for that run down the backstretch here. 24-1 the opening quarter mile. Discreet Mark on the inside, Alterite, and they are sharing the lead. Somali Lemonade drafting nicely in behind them. The pace is pedestrian, a 49-4 opening half mile. Tannery between horses runs along in fourth. Stratniver 3 wide, fifth into the far turn. Stephanie's Kitten 5 lengths from the 2 leaders up front behind this dawdling pace. Solid Appeal down to her inside, followed by Emollient, who is yet to settle throughout with less than 3 furlongs to go. Caroline Thomas alongside her. Abaco, and Jose Ortiz says go with Abaco, and she is on the move. And they are moving toward the top of the stretch here, and the field turns for home. Alterite and Discreet Mark. They've been sharing the lead the whole way. Somali Lemonade runs to daylight now. Somali Lemonade is third with 1 furlong to go. Discreet Mark still holding desperately to that lead. Somali Lemonade driving on the outside. Alterite is in between horses. Abaco on the far outside. Stephanie's Kitten coming down to the finish. Somali Lemonade surges and won it. Stephanie's Kitten got up for second. Discreet Mark was third. Abaco was fourth.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
The big day is here. You've told everybody. You've dressed the part. Your heart is pounding in your chest. Your horse is rolling down the stretch. He's coming. He's closing. He's the winner! You're a winner with Parting Glass Racing. PartingGlassRacing.com. PartingGlassRacing.wow!
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Casano. My thanks to Dallas Stewart once again for having joined us. And Somali Lemonade from just off a very conservative pace to upset the Diana over Stephanie's Kitten and Discreet Mark. If Stephanie's Kitten, I really liked her effort. Pace scenario was against her. She was wide throughout. This is the first time she's run well all year. If she goes to the Beverly D, it may be worth watching her. Our next guest won the Travers back in 1996 with Will's Way, and he's going to try to get there this year with Legend, who starts this afternoon in the Jim Dandy. We welcome back to Down the Stretch, Mr. Jim Bond. Jimmy, nice to see you.
You too, Mike.
Welcome
Thank
back. Interesting. You were eligible for yesterday's Curlin, but didn't even enter. Why the Jim Dandy rather than yesterday's Curlin?
I just wanted the Jim Dandy. I just kind of had it on the marker, and that's kind of where I wanted to be, and that's where we are. 600,000 reasons why.
Jimmy, he's a Ridgeling. Explain when that happened and why it happened.
Well, this horse had a testicle, okay, that was twisted, and we ran him a Gulfstream, and he was not accelerating on the turns. Luis Saez was riding him, and he always kept complaining. We fall apart on the turns, boss, and he can't finish. So anyway, so after the Florida Derby, I called Mr. Clifton. He was on the undercard that day and ran second again. And I said, we have to. Okay, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we removed it. And it was, this horse would go to the track and he'd kind of crow hop going off and he'd sweat. And it was just such a relief, because basically when that happens, a lot of the other testicle goes up in the canal and it pinches a horse. So it's this doesn't happen often, but it had to be done, and I'm glad we did it. And I think he's a different horse now.
Well, we are about to watch. He hasn't been worse than second in any of his last 4 starts. And we're about to watch the Easy Goer, his last start. For our audience, he's number 7 in here. Jimmy, talk about this effort and the progress he's made over the last several months.
Well, he's a really handy horse. I've loved this horse for 7 months. I told Mr. Clifton back last fall, this is a special horse, and he just gives you that. He's got class. That's all I can tell you. Everything he does it easily. He shows up, and he trains hard every morning. He's just the perfect pupil.
Now, he's strictly a maiden winner without a great deal of experience. Does that concern you at all when facing the absolute upper echelon of the 3-year-olds?
Not really. First of all, it's a pretty light field today. It's packed with class and quality, needless to say. But he's been running right there, okay? And again, I just have a pretty good feeling that, he belongs.
Is there something, because this was a fine effort, no doubt, but has he reached the level that you expect of him? You said ever since last year, you expected this to be a really special colt. Has he reached that level yet?
He's pretty close.
You saw something here that gave you confidence, which you had not seen in his earlier races. Tell us why.
That's his first time without that twisted testicle.
Right,
okay?
right.
Of course, Tiz Dark's in here, and Tiz Dark, this is the first time that horse, this is Kid Cruz, I'm sorry. But, Kid Cruz was on the fence all the way, got, kind of tipped out. We were kind of a little bit wide all the way with this spot. And I learned a little something different about the horse, okay? And, hopefully, we went and did our homework, and hopefully it comes true.
Okay. Now, he's been training for quite a while here at Saratoga. How's he doing? How's he coming up to this afternoon's Jim Dandy?
Well, as you know, this is his home base, okay? And bottom line, okay, is that's the trick of the, whole thing for us, okay? So to me, I, really am, just pleased the way he's trained, he's worked. Luis Saez got on him a couple of days ago and just was so happy, okay? I can't, he galloped out so strong, it was unbelievable. And so I'm personally very happy. And Luis hadn't been on him since that race. And he felt the same, kind of sensation that I did. His horse was a little stronger and maybe a little better horse than he was last race.
Now, on paper, it doesn't appear that there's much early speed in this afternoon's Jim Dandy. Tonalist has some natural speed. With Chad's horse having run yesterday, you've got the rail and natural speed with Legend. How do you take advantage of that this afternoon?
Well, hopefully you break. I mean, that's the, I had a really good filly in a few weeks ago and $500,000, and she fell on her knees in Canada on the grass. So, and she was second choice to the filly to win the plate. So, you hope and pray that they break accordingly. And, he's a pretty forward-placed horse most of the time anyhow. So I expect him to be kind of close.
What does he have to show you this afternoon in order for you to go on to the Travers?
Great race. Basically he's got to run good and, show up. I mean, the horses that are running tomorrow in the Haskell and things like that, they're all getting their preps, and, he's got to, be a little bit strong this afternoon to survive.
I have a feeling that you think he is going to show up this afternoon.
He's given me a lot of positive signs.
Well, you got the meet off to a very good start last Saturday when Waco broke his maiden. And for our audience, he is number 1 in here. 6th career start. A pretty good race in his prior start in a turf sprint, but he hadn't really shown any signs of this. What happened this day? This was a very good effort.
Well, this one was a second-time gelding, okay? This horse is always trained tremendously. Little lack of heart, to be honest with you, some days, okay? But and I've used him as a workhorse for a couple of good horses. But the neat thing here, okay, to me, as Mr. Clifton said, you can run that horse for a tag and get rid of him anytime you'd like. And so it was good, but I think the trainer might have had him on the grass too long, a little like Cigar.
Okay.
Cigar started on the grass, so, I don't know if he's a cigar. But
yeah, if he turns out the third as good as Cigar on the dirt, you'll be all set.
Yeah, exactly.
Did this surprise, it surprised the fans, it surprised me. Did it surprise you?
No, because he showed this brilliance in the morning, okay? And unfortunately, he just hasn't, tied it up. But again, this crazy trainer had him on the grass too long, so the preferred surface, I was told.
Yes. How did he come out of this race, and will we see him back at the meet?
He is scheduled to run back at the meet.
Come out good? Everything's okay?
Excellent. Yeah.
Entry-level allowance next time?
Yeah, we're not going to get
crazy.
crazy.
Is there something in the book later at the meet?
Yeah, there is a next book. There's a spot, and Jose wants to ride him back, so that's positive, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, that was a good way to get the meet kicked off. It will be a lot better to have Legend, and it's interesting. When we key your name on the screen, it's wonderful that you're training a horse named Legend, because it reads on the screen, Jim Bond Legend. So let's see how he does this afternoon. Jimmy, as always, we appreciate your time very much. I'm digging for something here. And we want to say thank you by giving you this $100 gift card and sending you to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill, 38 High Rock Avenue, here in downtown Saratoga Springs. Open daily for lunch and dinner, beginning at 11:30. So please take this with our regards and enjoy lunch or dinner on us.
Thank you very much,
And
Mark.
good luck this afternoon with Legend.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Jim Bond, ladies and gentlemen. We are up to our next break. When we return, Mr. Mike Hushin As we go to the break, last Sunday's coaching club. Overall, a weak grade 1, but nothing weak about the performance from the favorite, number 1, Stop Charging Maria. So we'll take a look at the coaching club to the break. Back with Mike Hushin right after these messages.
They're in the gate, and they're off. Miss Bessie Lou is sent after that lead. Take the odds from the far outside post, and Courageous Julie's in between those two as they hit the first turn. Just in behind them, Stop Charging Maria, America right alongside her, and Unbridled Forever's the early trailer. So it's Miss Bessie Lou out there by a length and a half. Take the odds. Second round the first turn. Courageous Julian behind them. Stop Charging Maria comes off the inside for clear running now. America's to her outside fifth. Unbridled Forever trails the field. She is 5.5 lengths off a 24 flat opening quarter mile. So the pace a good one here in the opening stages as they move down the backstretch, and Take the Odds makes a move after that lead. 6 furlongs out, she's now in front. Stop Charging Maria on the outside. And then it's Miss Bessie Lou down toward the rail, holding that position inside, followed by Courageous Julie, America, and Unbridled Forever trails the field. They get a half mile, 48 seconds flat. The field moving to the half mile pole now. Miss Bessie Lou is sharing the lead with Take the Odds. Stop Charging Maria makes her move now as they enter the far turn. Third, now just a length and a half behind. And Unbridled Forever makes her move now at the midway point on the far turn. 3/4 up and 112 flat. They make their way toward the top of the stretch. Stop Charging Maria, charging up on the outside now. And following her in behind is Unbridled Forever. Down toward the inside, Miss Bessie Lou is fighting on. Take the Odds is a wary fourth. They're coming into the final furlong. Stop Charging Maria in front by 2.5 lengths here in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Unbridled Forever is second, but time is running out for her and all the rest. Stop Charging Maria finishes full of run to win by 5 conclusive lengths over Unbridled Forever and Miss Bessie Lou. Final time was 1:49.4.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Sovereign Stable.
Partnerships.
Ownership.
Winning.
Sovereign Stable.
The anticipation.
The excitement.
The thrill.
Top level racing.
Sovereign Stable.
Join us in the morning on the backstretch of Saratoga Racecourse to experience the magic of thoroughbred ownership. Call 866-329-2WIN to meet trainers, jockeys, and watch sovereign horses on the track.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. My thanks once again to Jim Bond for having joined us. And Stop Charging Maria for Todd and Javier by 5 over Unbridled Forever in the Coaching Club. Our next guest has gotten off to a very fine start at this year's meet and will try to enhance things later this afternoon when he sends out Captain Sirius in the Amsterdam. We welcome back to Down the Stretch Mr. Mike Hushin. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Nice to have you. Congratulations, first of all, on getting off to a good start at the meet.
It's been fun.
Takes a lot of pressure off, doesn't it, when things go well early on?
All the trainers up here know what the pressure is, and do we need to perform? It's a bad time to go on a slow streak.
Yeah. We are about to take a look at Captain Sirius in his last race. This is a game second in the Dwyer. For our audience, he is number 1A in here. Mike, he ran awfully well this day, and I thought this might be a stepping stone to a race like the Curlin or the Jim Dandy, but instead you're shortening him up this afternoon. Tell us why.
Well, I had some choices with him. I'm still not convinced that he wants to go over a mile. I'm sure he can go a mile. I like the way this fit his training schedule, the amount of time between races, and we don't have to get in a hurry to go after the big boys. There'll be plenty of opportunities. By big boys, I mean the grade ones.
Right. He appears to have natural speed, but is very rateable.
Right, so it's a questionable race as far as what the speed is and who's going to go, but with our outside post position, it makes it nice and easy for the rider. If we break sharp, I would think Jose would prefer to be in front, but if somebody sends, we'd be laying second on outside and would be fine also.
Because you've got some speed immediately outside of you with big guy Ian with blinkers on today. So he's likely to show some speed, could apply some pressure to you from the outside.
He could if he outbreaks us and sends hard. He could just sit there in the middle of the track and wait for things to sort itself out and make it around the turn, tuck in.
Now, here in the Dwyer, when they turn for home, he opens up a little bit right here when asked, did you think at some point you were home?
Yes. Yeah, and I never like to lose, but it hurts twice as much when you think you had it won and you and you lose. And even Tom Durkin gave us a favorable call at the top of the stretch, and I always listen to what Tom has to say. I believe him more than my own eyes sometimes.
Now, you mentioned earlier that today's Amsterdam is perfect for his training schedule, yet it's only been 3 weeks since the Dwyer. You're happy with that time period?
Yes, and if I'm going to turn him back, like everyone else, and he runs a big race today, that gives us a nice amount of time for the King's Bishop.
And how is he doing coming into the Amsterdam?
Very good. He's a very easy. He's probably the easiest horse in the barn to train.
Really?
Yeah, he takes good care of himself and doesn't do anything silly.
That's wonderful.
It sure is.
Well, we're going to take a look at a couple others who got the meet started off very nicely for you. You had a couple of winners on Wednesday. We're going to begin with Artemis Agraterra for our audience. She is number 1A in here. This is a state-bred, non-winners to other than, and your fellow trainers must have been ill when they saw her name in this race. Why this spot, Mike?
Well, I was very disappointed in her race before, and I wanted to find something out. And this, if we were on the right track, I changed the way I trained her, and she seemed to be doing well, but I wanted to find out for sure. We can go anywhere we want from this race. But right about halfway around the turn is when she did not run well where we could see it. If the rider had to start nudging her at that time, I knew that I was in trouble. And when she ran big, he didn't have to. And when I saw her halfway around the turn and she was still taking him there, I felt very good about this race.
What was the difference in training her up to this race versus the Acorn where she did not run well that day?
Well, I don't know if that's what made the difference, but I was a lot harder on her for the Acorn training her. If you look at her work tab, there's some just easy half miles, and the couple of days leading up to the race, I trained her very light, and she seemed to respond. Sometimes big, strong horses, you tend to want to train them harder, and that can be a mistake.
How did she come out of this romp, and will we see her again at the meet?
You'll see her. I'm not sure. Hopefully, you'll see her. She seems fine. I haven't decided for sure where she's going to go, but I want to see what kind of a number she ran, and I'm not going to rule out the ballerina.
Okay. One race earlier, Girl About Town, who is number 2 in here, broke her maiden by a pole as a second-time starter. Mike, talk about this filly.
Well, when I first started training her in Florida over the winter, she just looked like she had no talent. But I had this big, beautiful filly, well-bred filly. Mr. Broman calls her Miss America, almost sarcastically when she wasn't training good. That a couple of months ago, the light switch went on, as they say, and she showed us in the morning that she was a different horse, and she's been the last 2 months. She's been great to train.
Wow, I would have never guessed, because it's certainly from this. Looks like she's got a very bright future. Isn't it interesting that certain horses, the light bulb goes off at different times for different horses?
Yeah, It definitely is, and it's not an easy decision for a trainer when it gets to the point where you're wasting the owner's money training a horse and where they're really worth waiting. But Mr. Broman's got a lot of patience.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Broman have played, you know, a major role in the New York breeding industry for decades. It's got to be nice to saddle one like this, or two, after Artemis Agritera for them here at Saratoga.
It's nice. It's nice for the homebreds, for everybody too. You know, Captain Sirius is a homebred. I trained his mother, and it's kind of special when you train the family.
Kind of nice to camp out in the Saratoga Winter Circle too.
It's not a bad spot.
Now, on Monday, my Wandy's girl makes her first start since the middle of May in the Honorable Miss. How's she doing?
She's doing fine. I'm happy. She's bouncing the last couple of weeks. You know, 6 furlongs would not be ideal distance, but once again, the timing was good. We had a period where we had to stop training her for a week before, so getting her going, getting her works going, it was either this or just work her a couple more times hard. So, you know, she's a good filly, and she lays it out there every time she runs. There's a good amount of speed in there, and I think if they do go a little bit, you know, we'll make a little run at them last part of it.
Because she's never won at 3/4. She hasn't raced at 6 furlongs that much, right, but she's winless at 3/4. And, you know, for a handicapper looking at Monday's race, the question is, Mike, is this just a starting point for her to get her going for the second half of the year, or is she fit enough and tight enough to win at 3/4 on Monday?
Oh, she's fit enough and tight enough. I think pace will dictate it, you know, because she's not a natural 3/4 horse.
Right.
But if there's enough pace, 3/4 for a come-from-behind horse can be easier than 7/8.
Well, Mike, as always, we appreciate your time very much. Thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch, and we want to say thank you another way by giving you this $100 gift certificate to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill, 38 High Rock Avenue, right here in downtown Saratoga Springs. Open daily, lunch and dinner beginning at 11:30. The steak is good, the chicken is good, the scallops are good. And when I look at that shot on the screen, I get extremely hungry. So take this with our regards.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, and best of luck this afternoon, Captain Series.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Hushin, ladies and gentlemen. And we are up to our final break. When we return, Mr. Kieran McLaughlin will join us as we go to the break. Wednesday's Lake George for 3-year-old fillies, 8.5 furlongs on turf. Field of 7, 6 of them were between 3-1 and 6-1. The favorite, number 2, Daring Dancer. So we'll take a look at the Lake George to the break. Back with Kieran McLaughlin right after these messages.
And they're off. Daring Kathy bounding immediately to the lead. The rider appeared to lose the irons, but just momentarily. Back on track now is Daring Kathy, the leader. A little bit sassy. Second on the outside. Tough One gets a good spot. A coveted spot inside as they move into the first turn. Right alongside her, Speed Seeker runs along in 4th. Then it's Daring Dancer 5th, followed by Little Journey and Sweet Acclaim down on the fence as they round the first turn. Daring Kathy bounding away to lead by 2 here, with a little bit sassy running along in 2nd. 2 lengths behind her, Duff One is 3rd. Right alongside is the eager Speed Seeker after a 24 flat opening quarter mile. Then a break of 3 lengths back to the 5th horse, Daring Dancer. Just to her outside is Little Journey, drafting in behind those 2, Sweet Acclaim. So down the back stretch they go. Johnny Velasquez trying to ration out that speed to maintain a measured 1-length lead with Daring Kathy after a 48-second flat half mile. On the outside, a little bit sassy, runs along in 2nd. Jose Ortiz starting to get into Duff One, who's had a beautiful trip in behind the front runner so far. And then on the outside, Speed Seeker, the tempo quickening as they round the far turn. And here comes a little bit sassy to the throat latch of Daring Kathy. Duff One, 2 lengths behind them, running in 3rd. And then Little Journey swings into action on the far outside for Daring Dancer. Cuts the corner 5th as the field comes into the final furlong here. Daring Kathy on the inside, on the outside, it's a little bit sassy. Nothing between them, but here comes Daring Dancer. Daring Dancer now coming after a little bit sassy. And here's the wire. Oh, photo finish. That was a tight one. Daring Dancer and a little bit sassy. Their noses together at the finish. A three-way photo for third, as well Speed Seeker, Sweet Acclaim, and Daring Kathy.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Saratoga Classic on August 9th. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to capitalotb.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. capitalotb.com.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Cassano. My thanks once again to Mike Hushin for having joined us, and Daring Dancer for one of last week's guests, Graham Motion, and Alan Garcia up in the last jump to nail a little bit sassy to capture the Lake George. You know, back on Belmont Stakes Day on the undercard, they ran the Ogden Phipps. And coming out of that race, everybody very excited about the tight finish between Close Hatches and Princess of Silmar. Other people talking about dual champion Beholder running fourth that day. What I think was somewhat overlooked from the Phipps was the outstanding third place finish of Antipathy, a long shot who starts in tomorrow's Shuvie here at Saratoga, and we welcome in her trainer, Mr. Kieran McLaughlin. Kieran, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having
Always nice to have her. Listen, are we okay with Kieran's mic, guys? Oh, all right, let me take a look at this mic because the audience doesn't want to listen to me. They want to listen to you. And there we go. Now they can listen to you. All right.
Okay, great.
Here is the aforementioned Ogden Phipps. For our audience, Antipathy is number 2. Now, I thought this was a very big effort. What did you think of the effort?
We were very pleased. We thought, Irad, you know, we asked him to sit back and try and make a run, and we thought that the filly on the lead would go on to the lead, and thought Close Hatches would be close also. So he tried to settle her, but she was pretty keen, and they went very fast the first quarter. We were worried about where we might finish after a quarter so fast, but he does get her settled a little bit right now and backs off the leader, and she, you know, he saves a little bit of her energy for later, but she runs a huge race.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I was so impressed, and our audience will see in a few seconds. She battles back down along the inside through the lane, and she was in closest attendance to that very quick early pace.
Yes, it looked like if it was another half a furlong, which we're going to get tomorrow afternoon, that she might have come back to win it. So hopefully she can run the same type of race. This race would win the race tomorrow, but you know, it was a big step up for us, and we were 30-1. Tomorrow we're 9-5
Yeah.
one in line. A lot more pressure on us.
This was obviously the finest effort of her career. Is that a sign to you that she's improving and maturing?
We hope so. We look back, and one of the fillies that beat her in the allowance race came back to win the Delaware Handicap.
Yeah, sure.
So it looks a little better, and we're just hoping to get a couple of them back to back, you know, and that's the key. Is this was a huge effort, and we need to get another one tomorrow in order to win.
And here she is coming back down along the inside, and those are two outstanding fillies that ran 1-2, and neither was involved in the early pace at all.
No, exactly. There were, you know, 3 outstanding fillies, and we were lucky to finish third, almost win it, and we just hope our luck is better, you know, and get in the winner's circle tomorrow.
Now, that was a pretty tough race. How did she come out of it, and how's she been training up to the Shuvie?
She's training great. She came out of it excellent. She's a big, strong filly, so it didn't take that much out of her, and we think the mile and 1/8 2 turns here will suit her very well.
Well, that's kind of interesting, Kieran, because here we are in the middle of her 4-year-old season. She has made exactly one start around 2 turns, and she's never been 9 furlongs. Are either of those any kind of a concern to you?
No, we don't feel like that. If it was 10 furlongs, we would like it. You know, we don't feel like the distance will be a problem. And 2 turns is great, and she has a lot of speed, so she'll be forwardly placed.
Now, there may be some other speed in there, particularly if Marty Wolfson runs Swingers Party here instead of Monmouth. You know, it's critical to get a position getting into and out of that first turn. If there's other speed, do you think she'll settle a little better early than she did in the Phipps?
We hope so, but we also hope she breaks well, and she'll probably be on or near the lead. So hopefully she breaks well and she's on the lead.
You're happy with the way she's coming into the race?
Yeah, great. She can lay second if need be.
Also tomorrow at Monmouth Park, you will be saddling Long River for the Monmouth Cup. Looks like he's tailed off a little bit in his last 2 starts, although he's faced a lot better. How's he doing coming into tomorrow's race?
He's training great, and he ran, 2 subpar races, correct? We're going to blame the last race of Stephen Foster on the Churchill surface because some horses just don't like it, and it was too bad to be true. It was a bad effort, so hopefully he comes back at Monmouth and runs huge. And we need to try and win a greatest stake with him because he's AP Indy out of Round Pond. The pedigree doesn't get any better.
Yeah, you've got, Antipathies at AP Indy. Kind of nice to have a few of those in the barn,
Yes,
huh?
it is.
You know, a couple of starts back, I believe, I don't have the PPs in front of me. I believe it was the Charlestown Classic where he made a threatening run before flattening out. The Stephen Foster really wasn't much of an effort.
No, it wasn't. So hopefully it didn't take much out of him, and we have a big chance tomorrow.
Now, we need to get a couple of updates from you on a pair of 3-year-olds. Cairo Prince, early this year, was on top of a lot of people's list as the best 3-year-old. We haven't seen him in a while. I believe he underwent ankle surgery. What's going on with Cairo Prince?
He's back under tack soon in Lexington with Johnny Burke at Keeneland. And once he starts tack walking and jogging a few days, then he'll probably return to our stable here. He's doing well. It's just he had surgery and was a setback, and he's still the top 3-year-old in the country to me and on my list. But we hope to have him back soon.
Realistically, well, first of all, how do they think the surgery went?
It went very well. It's just some of the after effects. You get a temperature, you have this happen and that happen, but all is going well.
Realistically, when might we see him? Would it have to be this winter in Florida, or could it be earlier than that? Realistically, what do you think?
2015 $10 million World Cup. Is it? We hope to make it. They went back to dirt, but we will obviously get him started before that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we might
Maidon
get
went
him
back to
started
dirt.
in the Don or something before that.
Okay.
But being that he's not back under training yet, it's gonna be late in the fall or onto the winter.
And earlier this year, I believe it was early May, at Belmont Park, you saddled an eye-catching entry-level allowance winner by the name of Bay of Plenty. And I put him on the list. I said, this is a good-looking colt, as you see from that shot on the screen. And I have not seen hide nor hair of Bay of Plenty. What happened?
He'll train at 7:20 tomorrow here. No, he is training every day. He just had a setback with his feet. We shot him, and he had some problems with his feet. But he's back in full training. He hasn't worked yet, but he'll work pretty soon, maybe in 2 weeks, and get him back and find a race for him this fall. He is here in training.
Okay, all right. So we'll hopefully see him this fall downstate.
Yes.
Before we let you go, you are on the board of directors of the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, which announced a couple of days ago a contribution, an ongoing contribution to the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we all support the jockeys, and it was based on $1 a race for the year, and we were hoping the jockeys are probably hoping that other tracks follow suit. And it's a needy cause and a great cause, and we're happy to donate money to help the permanently disabled jockeys.
So it's $1 for every starter in New York.
No, $1 a race.
$1 a race in New
Based
York.
on that, 18,000 races. It was a little more than that, actually.
Good. Well,
Yes.
that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Well, listen, you've been coming on this show for a very long time, even though you're still a very young man, and we always appreciate having you on. I know the audience loves listening to you. So thanks for taking time out from your schedule to have joined us this morning on Down the Stretch, and all the best with Antipathy. I'm really excited to watch her run tomorrow.
Great. You've brought me a lot of luck coming on the TV. We need some luck right now
Well-
to get our first win, but we haven't run too many.
Well, that would be a good place to
Yes,
get it in the
exactly.
Shoe V.
Correct.
We also want to say thank you by giving you this $100 gift card to a wonderful restaurant in town, Jacob and Anthony's American Grill, 38 High Rock Avenue, downtown Saratoga. They are open daily for lunch and dinner, beginning in about 35 minutes. At 11:30, they've got a nice outdoor patio, and the food is wonderful. So take this with our regards and enjoy lunch or dinner at Jacob and Anthony's.
I have already in the past. So
Beautiful.
thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Good
Okay.
luck tomorrow with Antipathy.
Thank you.
All right, let's before we wrap things up, let's take a look at the upcoming stakes races over the next week here at Saratoga. Today, the Jim Dandy and the Amsterdam. We are expecting a big scratch in the Amsterdam of Rock Fall. Noble Moon may also come out of there, so watch for that. The Jim Dandy in the Amsterdam today. Tomorrow, the Shoe V. Good luck to local owner Roddy Valente, who will be running Hot Stones in the Shoe V. Also, of course, at Monmouth Park, the Haskell. On Monday here at Saratoga, the Honorable Miss La Verdad and the return of my Wandy's Girl. On Wednesday, the Coronation Cup, a turf sprint for males. On Thursday, the Smithwick Steeplechase and New York Breds and the Evan Shipman. On Friday, fillies and mares in a turf sprint in the Caress. And then next Saturday, a really big day featuring the Whitney, the Test for 3-year-old fillies, the Vanderbilt for male sprinters, and the Lure in the De La Rose on the proper surface. Just a terrific card of racing next Saturday, and there's a look at the upcoming stakes here at Saratoga. Time to thank all the folks who helped get this week's show on the air here at Saratoga. Our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, and Brian Dorenzo and Mick Richards. Back in the control room in Schenectady, Pat Peretta directed, Pete Persico on audio. Thanks to Dan Hayes for helping with the Open. And thanks to this morning's guests, Karen McLaughlin, Mike Hushin, Jim Bond, and Dallas Seward. And thanks to our sponsors, Parting Glass Racing, Saratoga's original racing partnership. Visit them on the web at partingglassracing.com. And thanks to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill for sponsoring our guest segments, 38 High Rock Avenue, downtown Saratoga, open for lunch and dinner beginning at 11:30. You can call them for reservations at 871-1600. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so very much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. Enjoy this wonderful weekend of racing. Have a terrific upcoming week. And from all of us here at Down the Stretch, we'll see you next week.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.